Now at 6, a live look at the west side of Madison, where the snow has been coming down most of the afternoon. We'll let you know when spring will return. And some unlucky campers are making the best of a rare winter snowstorm in late April. How they're staying happy, campers. And the President of the United States will make a speech tonight just a few hours away from here. We'll preview his speech in the Green Bay area.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
Thanks for watching News 3 Now. I'm Amanda Quintana. It feels like winter has returned to southern Wisconsin, hopefully for the last time in a while. Let's get a look at your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canolti out on the weather patio. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Amanda. You know, it's snowing about as hard as it has all afternoon here in the backyard. It's been a wet, sticky snow that has not really stuck to the pavement or the streets, even the patio here. It is sticking to the trees and the grassy areas behind me, and some of that has been melting as we going through the afternoon, so very difficult to measure. I would estimate probably about 1.5 to 2 inches has fallen here in the News 3 Now backyard. But if you take a look at Doppler track, you can see the back edge of the snow rapidly moving in from Iowa into southern Wisconsin. So while it's snowing pretty steadily in the Madison area, that snow lightens up considerably to our west and then pretty much ends by the time you get to the Mississippi River. The lower the visibility, the heavier the snow, and you can see visibility right now down to about a half mile of moderate snow in Madison and in Janesville, but out to the west, those visibilities start improving to more than 1 mile, and then you start getting west of Platteville, and you start seeing the visibilities closer to between 5 and 10 miles with very light snow falling, if any, there. High temperatures today made it in the mid-40s, so we started out warm early this morning, and it took a while for those temperatures to fall because of the dry air near the ground and the precipitation kind of melting as it fell, and that allowed the temperatures to cool off. Now we're down to the freezing mark here in Madison, but many locations still seeing temperatures at or slightly above freezing, even though it is snowing. So that's why the snow is having a hard time sticking to the ground. The heaviest snow basically has been from Madison on toward the south. There are winter weather advisories in effect until 7 p.m. for Dane County and areas to the west. East of Dane County, those advisories run until 10 p.m. as well as areas south of the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. By tomorrow morning, skies will clear out later on tonight once the snow ends this evening. By tomorrow morning, temperatures should be in the upper 20s, and the record low temperature for Madison is 27, set back in 1988, and that's certainly within reach. Tomorrow will start out with sunshine. High temperatures will be back in the lower 50s, so the snow will be all gone by about this time tomorrow, and at least clouds will be moving in, and we'll see the next batch of precipitation in the form of rain. I'll have more on that a little bit later in weather.
All right, thank you so much, Gary. Despite the cold and snow, plenty of people are still getting outside, sleeping outside, in fact. Our Madeline O'Neill spoke with campers who aren't letting the threat of bad weather scare them away.
With temperatures in the mid-30s and snow expected, many who booked a campsite here at Devil's Lake weren't expecting this kind of weather when they were planning for late April.
With camping, you never know what the weather is going to be.
Past, say, February.
I wasn't expecting snow, at least.
Flurries are rarely welcome.
It gets like March and you're like, okay, I'm kind of over it.
By April.
April is unreasonable.
Annoyed. It's a little scary.
Especially when these are your accommodations for the night.
We saw a lot of people leaving so far.
We planned this trip a couple months ago.
Should
be
be warm.
Perfect camping weather, but we had no idea that there would be a snowstorm coming.
But with a few ways to keep warm.
We just got to New Glarus Beer, so yeah, we're excited about that.
This crew from Chicago isn't scared off.
I think that's pretty typical for camping, to just roll with it.
Their neighbors, also from the Windy City,
We'll do jumping jacks.
have plans to put up with some less than ideal weather too.
We'll be walking around, eating good food, surviving the cold, ideally.
The cold comes with some mixed reviews.
Oh, I'm thrilled, yeah.
I'm not.
I'm gonna go swimming.
I'm disappointed a little. I was hoping for like spring weather, looking at the stars.
It's a little sad.
Even with the threat of snow,
We've can-do attitude.
these campers know that what really matters is who joins you around the fire.
Good company.
In Baraboo,
We're with good friends, so it's going to be a good time no matter what.
Madeline O'Neill, News 3 Now.
According to the Devil's Lake phone line, all reservable campsites were already filled for this weekend. Despite the cold weather, hundreds of people are headed to downtown Madison for the very first home game in forward Madison FC history. That's where we find our Adam Duxter, who joins us live from High Noon Saloon with members of the team's supporter group. Adam?
Well, Amanda, there might be snowing outside, but members of the Flock Forward Madison FC supporter group are out here in full force getting ready for their home opener today at WISC-TV. In just a couple of moments, they're going to be going on a march all the way down Washington Street towards WISC-TV Field, the newly renovated WISC-TV Field, where they will have their home opener against the Greenville Triumph. And despite the snow, they say years from now, this could be a bit of a fun memory to look back on.
Do you remember that first game when it was, 30 degrees outside and it was snowing? There was the risk of a whiteout, and I'm sure as it goes on down the years, there'll be a little bit of small little editing of the story, and it was it was the worst snowstorm we ever had in April.
And again, these fans are getting just ready to make their march towards the stadium down East Wash. It's all part of today's opening day festivity for Forward Madison FC. We'll have everything you need to know about the game and the fans battling the snow coming up tonight on News 3 now at 10.
Flamingos walking in the snow. Thank you so much, Adam. You can keep track of the storm by using our First Alert Weather app. Just search for Channel 3000 First Alert Weather and Traffic to download that free app. New at 6 tonight, a 19-year-old man has been detained after a shooting at a synagogue in Poway, California, just outside of San Diego. The San Diego Sheriff's Department says a man walked into the synagogue and started shooting while worshipers were celebrating the final day of Passover. Police in Poway say there is at least one person dead and 3 others wounded. Several other religious centers were put on lockdown after that shooting. We'll see how President Trump will respond to the shooting tonight during his speech in Ashwaubenon. He's speaking during a rally at the Resch Center, scheduled to take the stage in about an hour. We will be live streaming that on Facebook and sharing the latest tonight on News 3 Now at 10. More local news now. The snow and cold didn't stop one of Madison's biggest traditions. The Mifflin Block Party celebrates 50 years this year. Officials say it saw a crowd that was a little smaller than usual. Mifflin has drawn crowds of up to 20,000 people in previous years. The annual tradition began in 1969 and is considered one of the most anticipated spring events in the city. Madison Police deploys additional patrols and its special events team to monitor the unsanctioned event. Runners and walkers got a snowy start as they raced to the 50-yard line finish line in Camp Randall this morning. The 38th annual Crazy Lakes Classic had a major course change this year. For the first time in the race's history, it didn't start on Capitol Square, but instead on UW's Library Mall. A new city ordinance put an end to events on the square that clogged downtown. However, this year wasn't the first time the race experienced some snow.
The weather's not ideal. We're all from Wisconsin, so we're I don't know if we're used to snow at the end of April, but it's not out of the ordinary. So
the annual race drew more than 10,000 participants today. Coming up on News 3 Now at 6, the amount of insect-borne diseases is rising. Consumer Reports tests the top bug sprays to show us which one is the best.
Your new
Welcome back. In just 2.5 hours, more than 22 tons of personal documents were destroyed thanks to the annual Shred Fest at Warner Park. More than 1,400 people threw away anything from receipts, bank statements, pay stubs, and bills. According to the Better Business Bureau, most identity theft crimes occur when something containing your personal information is either lost or stolen.
So it's extremely important to shred those confidential documents, and the best way to do that is at a shredding event like this.
WISC-TV News 3 Now is a proud sponsor and partner of that event. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the number of insect-borne diseases is increasing. Wearing an effective insect repellent is an important step against mosquitoes and ticks that can spread diseases like West Nile and Lyme disease. Consumer Reports has ratings for 37 different repellents and can tell you which ones work best and to ward off those pests.
Tamara and her husband Dimitri love spending time outdoors and hike every day with their dog Aria and routinely use repellents.
We are very cognizant of mostly ticks, less so mosquitoes, but that certainly is an issue.
Consumer Reports tests repellents that contain DEET and other chemical ingredients like picaridin and oil of lemon eucalyptus. To see how effective each repellent is, Consumer Reports enlists panelists willing to stick their arms into cages filled with disease-free mosquitoes.
Earlier years of testing have showed that if a repellent does well against mosquitoes, it generally tends to do well against ticks as well.
So, which repellents work best? Here's the good news. It's not about which brands performed better, but more about the concentration of the active ingredients.
We found that concentrations of DEET at 25 to 30% are really the best to keep you protected.
Off, Deepwood Sportman insect repellent IV Dry with 25% DEET performed excellent against mosquitoes. Or this Consumer Reports Best Buy Benz with 30% DEET. If you prefer wipes, Consumer Reports recommends Repel Insect Repellent mosquito wipes with 30% DEET.
So a lot of folks are worried that DEET might not be safe, but really there's a lot of evidence to show that when you follow the directions on the label, when you use it properly, DEET is very effective and it's also safe.
I'm Chris Lewinberg, News 3 Now.
Consumer Reports also tested repellents that use natural ingredients like citronella, peppermint, and soybean oil to keep pests away. Unfortunately, those products performed poorly in CR's tests. Coming up, after hundreds of trees were cut down because of an invasive species, an organization is planting more. What it means to them. Several volunteers were out dodging raindrops and a few snowflakes this morning at Devils Lake State Park. Members of the group Friends of Devils Lake State Park got together to plant trees. 300 trees were cut down last fall to fight against emerald ash borer, a beetle that destroys ash trees. Organizers say besides their environmental value, cutting down trees can also mean cutting down memories.
Sometimes it's like that favorite shade tree when somebody wants to picnic or camp. This is where we always go.
Organizers say they hope planting new trees will help create new traditions for people. All right, let's get a look at your first alert weather. It really did not feel much like spring today, Gary.
No, it didn't. And fortunately, the nice thing about snow this time of year is it doesn't last very long. But we did pick up a fair amount, at least over the southern portions of our viewing area. These are the latest snowfall totals as of 6 p.m. Lancaster coming in with about 5.1 inches of snow. Belmont and Monroe around 4 inches, 3.5 in New Glarus and Brooklyn. And then you get to the WISC-TV studios. We were about 2.5 inches, but a lot of that was melting as it fell, even on the grassy areas. The streets and the sidewalks right now are just wet. And while they're wet, temperatures will fall below freezing later on tonight, and that could make for some icy road surfaces. Now, as we take a look at Doppler track, you can see the back edge of the snow moving pretty rapidly over southwestern Wisconsin. So the snow should end from west to east pretty quickly. The heavier bands of snow are now shifting south and east of Madison, south of Milwaukee, and that's where the lowest visibilities are right now. Still half-mile visibility in Madison, a quarter-mile visibility in heavy snow at Mitchell Field, Milwaukee. But notice out to the west, La Crosse, Marshfield, they're at 10-mile visibilities, meaning that the snow is either stopped or it's just down to a couple of flurries. So they expect the snow to end pretty quickly this evening. The invisible cloud track, you can see the thickness of the clouds here. You normally don't see clouds that thick when it comes to a winter-type storm, even this late in the season. But notice the clearing out to the west. As that clearing moves in and the fresh snow cover is on the ground, we will see our temperatures drop into the upper 20s, and that could lead to record or near record low temperatures by tomorrow morning. Temperatures right now right around freezing where the snow is, but notice even where the snow is stopped, those temperatures bounce right back up to around 40. So those areas that have seen the snow stop may actually see their temperatures go up a bit and start melting the snow already this evening before it turns colder later on tonight. Compared to 24 hours ago, our temperatures, though, running about 25 to almost 30 degrees colder. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam in Platteville, still seeing some snow there, but you can even see on the ground there, it's not a very thick snow. The WISC Skycam, we've got it pointed down so you can see the thickness of the snow. The Edgewater Skycam downtown Madison showing one of those bands of heavier snow moving on through downtown area, but for much of the afternoon, they didn't even see snow sticking to the grass. Our high of 45 is early today, and that we had to overcome that before we can get those temperatures down close enough to freezing to have the snow stick to the ground. Our low temperature is the current reading of 32. Winds are out of the northeast at 9 miles per hour, and the humidity is at 96%. So as this winter storm system takes off to the east following a strong jet stream, the next weather system already waiting in the wings will start heading southeastward, but that will bring us rain, mainly tomorrow night into Monday. Temperatures right now cold here because of the low pressure system just to our south, but again, skies are clearing out to the west, and immediately those temperatures bounce right back up. So we're looking for high temperatures tomorrow, perhaps in the lower 50s. Forecast does include that winter weather advisory till 7 p.m. for Dane County and areas to the west. East of Dane County, that advisory runs until 10 p.m. tonight. Look for the snow to come to an end, then it'll turn clear and cold late. Our low of 27 would tie the record low of 27 set back in 1988. Tomorrow we'll start out with sunshine in the morning, but mostly cloudy skies move into the afternoon with a high of 52. On future track, you can see how rapidly the snow moves out for tonight. Those skies clear out and temperatures drop into the 20s. Tomorrow, though, morning sunshine gives way to clouds in the afternoon, and temperatures bounce right back up into the low 50s. Tomorrow night, those clouds will bring some rain showers with low temperatures dropping to around 40, and look for high temperatures in the lower to middle 50s on Monday. As we check out the 7 to 10 day forecast, those temperatures basically slowly rise up, but they'll stay below normal at least through Friday. Some shower and thunderstorm chances. By the end of the week, though, those temperatures closer to the low to mid 60s. That'll feel a little more comfortable with some thunderstorm chances perhaps late Saturday into Sunday of next week. But Saturday looks pretty nice.
Yeah, and this won't stick around for a while, so that's good.
It'll be gone, I think, by tomorrow afternoon.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Sure.
The Packers adding to their backfield in the final round of the NFL Draft. More on that coming up in sports.
Well, last of the NFL draft and the Packers cashing in on their needs on both sides of the ball. Here's who Brian Gutekunst and company picked up today. Defensive tackle Kingsley Keke from Texas A&M, the second Aggie coming to Green Bay. Kadar Hallman, a corner from Toledo. Dexter Williams will join Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams in the Packers backfield. And finally, Ty Summers, an inside linebacker out of TCU. An interesting note, Gutekunst drafting quite a few SEC and Big Ten guys, going away from Ted Thompson's standard of getting West Coast players. As for the Badgers, Michael Dieter picked up by the Dolphins yesterday in the 3rd round. Today, inside linebacker Ryan Connolly, he's heading to the New York Giants. Andrew Van Ginkel will join Dieter in Miami. He was drafted in round 5. And offensive lineman David Edwards, he's going to be a Cali kid playing for the Rams. Now, the rest will likely sign undrafted free agent contracts. Alec Ingold, right now, the only one and the first one to get one from the Raiders. John Gruden was his coach during the Senior Bowl. Still lots of talent left for the Badgers, including Bo Benchel, TJ Edwards, and Dakota Dixon, who are surprisingly not drafted, so stay tuned. For your information, 40 players were drafted from the Big Ten this year. The SEC led with 64 players overall. The Badgers softball team aiming for the series win at Purdue this afternoon. Wisconsin won the first game yesterday. Big game today for Kelly Welsh. She hit a solo home run in the 4th inning, then in the 5th, launches one way back to right center. This time it's a grand slam. Badgers win big time at Purdue. 12-6, the final score. The Brewers making it official with Gio Gonzalez. He's coming back to Milwaukee for a 1-year deal. Freddie Peralta heading down to AA for a rehab assignment in his place. Meanwhile, the rest of the team in Game 2 against the Mets. No rain delays today. Right now, Brewers up 1-0 in the 1st inning. It's on to the next one for the Bucks. The Eastern Conference semifinals start tomorrow between the 4th-seeded Celtics and number 1 Bucks. And in case you missed it, the Bucks swept the Pistons pretty handily in the 1st round, and that home court advantage to start probably helped the Bucks get off to a strong one. And they earned that, according to Giannis Antetokounmpo. But this next round against Boston isn't going to be that simple.
You know, this year we got the home court advantage, and that's really good. We worked for it the whole season long. But at the end of the day, we got to play good basketball because the Celtics, they're a great basketball team. You know, if you just play around and you don't show effort, you don't show energy, and you start being sloppy, they're gonna get you. So we just got to be focused and know this is gonna be tough, but we can get it done. We can definitely get it done.
Runners in the state of Wisconsin proving how tough they are today because a little snow and a little wind didn't stop more than 10,000 brave souls from running the 38th annual Crazy Legs Classic. Andy Knapp of Madison crossing the finish line first on the men's side. I'm just shivering watching this in his tank top and shorts. He finished with a time of 25 minutes and 1 second. That's a distance of 8 kilometers, by the way. And on the women's side, Jessa Victor coming in first place, 29 minutes and 32 seconds for her. No shortage of fans cheering these runners on either, and that definitely helped these runners.
That's what I've been training for. And so I work with the cross-country team here, so having a lot of the guys standing here in the finish line was a big plus to have them here. And knowing they were watching, a big push for me.
Turning that corner into the home stretch, into the snow and wind, it was brutal, but I mean, that's Wisconsin in the springtime, and it makes you feel super tough, too.
Oh, they're way more super tough than we are. So here are your top 3 finishers on the women's side. Victor finished by Trisha Saris of Platteville, Natasha Zanoya of Madison. And then on the men's side, Knapp winning first, of course, Alexander Cushman in second, and Dylan Suter in third. Bless them.
They're probably all warming up right now.
I guess it is springtime.
Seriously, hot showers.
Madison.
Yeah, well, right now with the snow starting to wind down west of Madison. You can see on high-resolution Doppler the heaviest snow south and east of Madison. Put the radar into motion. You can see it's really starting to break up over southwestern portions of Wisconsin. Visibility is right now still a half mile and moderate snow in Madison, but that improves the farther west you go. And you can see the temperature is right around freezing in Madison. It actually goes up a couple of degrees to the west where the snow has stopped. So there may be a little bit of melting before we see some freezing and perhaps near record low temperatures by early tomorrow morning.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.